BlackRock is president. It's truly time to wake up to America. In today's video, I'm going to break down how I think you think the president of the United States is going to be coming in 2024 is going to change the game, but I'm going to show you a different narrative. I think BlackRock might be the president based on the financial moves they're making. Pay attention. My name is Coach JV. What I work to do is I make the complex simple. I take very complex strategies and I break it into financial education. And we've helped over 7,000 people worldwide with like-minded community rising up, battling it against nobody, but taking care of our families to become somebody. In the description down below or in the link in my social media platforms, you can join our Warrior Academy. If you're also concerned about your retirement, about your 401k, we have a free consultation with our licensed insurance team to understand about tax code 7702, tax-free retirement, how to secure, compound, and grow your wealth in the craziest economic times in the world. Insurance is a very powerful vehicle for retirement and also to protect your principal. So in the description, in the video, or on social, you can set up a free consultation with my team. So let's dive into this. So I've been breaking down BlackRock for a very long time here, but I want to show you the patterns that's happening. So we need to pull ourselves to a 30,000 foot overview. We need to get out of the weeds and up in a higher view here, okay? If you follow Ray Dalio's big changing world order, right? He shows us the economic cycles for 500 years. There's a rise of a superpower and then a fall of a superpower, rise of a dominant currency and a fall of a dominant currency. We are now in the fall of America as the dominant currency. Now, the difference between this one is we're now heading into this central bank digital currency bag of currencies. So as you see things changing within the physical world, there's another reaction on the other side, which is moving us into a brave new world. Okay, so something that's happened just in the last couple of weeks is a downgrade of America from AAA down to AA plus, and then we saw 10 regional banks get downgraded. So America is now being downgraded not only at the banking level but the American level, the country level, making it more expensive for us to borrow. So this was awesome from Veta FI, the really cool description of this as repercussions of the downgrade. Then I'm going to show you what BlackRock says about the repercussions of the downgrade. Remember, BlackRock was tapped by the Federal Reserve in 2008 and 2020 to balance out the market. They call it the fifth arm of the government. The credit downgrade has already had an impact on treasuries and stocks. Complicated investors' sentiment about the treasury debt. Yields pushed higher post decisions with a 30-year yield exceeding 4.3 on Thursday for the first time since November. Bond yield rise when prices fall, okay? So we had an inversion of the bond prices or the bond rates, right? So what that did is it sucked the liquidity out of the banks. So money was really cheap for a long time. So when you got a bond from the treasury, right, you had more, they were able to give a higher interest, right? Well, that flipped. The 3-year or shorter treasury yield bonds gave you a higher yield than the long-term treasury bonds, which pulled the liquidity out of the system. And now we're in a position where America is being downgraded because of our lack of liquidity and being over leveraged. So having surpassed a record 25 trillion in outstanding treasuries, the government pays nearly 1 trillion, check this out, 1 trillion in interest, or roughly a third of what is collected in taxes. Meanwhile, the Treasury Department just announced expects to issue over 1 trillion in new debt in the third quarter. So 25 trillion of outstanding treasuries and 1 trillion of the interest roughly paid through our taxes, okay? So our taxes are paying the interest on our debt. We're at 120% debt to income ratio. All the banks are over leveraged. Our country is over leveraged. So it's a little bit different in 2008 when the gross domestic product, the GDP, was less or more than the credit. Now we have more credit in the system than we do have debt. Okay, so that's what's happening. So those are facts, figures, numbers, logic. This isn't pie in the sky speculation. That's what's actually happening. So here is what BlackRock said that they are doing. The bottom line, the rating downgrade, you don't think they're making futuristic decisions based on what's happening? The rating downgrade reinforces our view that rising inflation and debt burdens will prompt investors over time to demand term premia, our compensation for the risk of holding long-term government debt. We see that causing DM bonds yield curves to steepen over time as long-term yields rise, underpinning our long-held strategy underweight. We stay tactically underweight broad DM equities, but are overweight in long horizon alongside inflation linked bonds, credit and beneficiaries structures of mega forces. Okay, so what they're saying is the long-term treasury bonds, it sucked the liquidity out of the system. So they are changing their investment strategies. So this is the PDF where they talk about back here. Let me go back real quick. Well, this is it right here. They talk about mega forces, right? Digital disruption and AI. Pause for just a moment. Okay. It doesn't matter what these presidents campaign in the next 20, what is it? Are we coming up on 10 months? Something like about 13, 14 months till November 4th, 2024. Guys, they don't make the decisions for the economy. BlackRock holds 10 trillion under asset management. BlackRock has been making moves outside of America. The digital disruption in AI, your system is being transformed. This is the future of your finances. Remember, the stock market, your 401k doesn't care about your emotions. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't care that you have a wedding coming up. It doesn't care that your son's going to college. It doesn't care that you have a mortgage to still pay for. The market is ruthless. Okay. Many of you, your 401ks are attached to these capital markets that are going to come collapsing down. In my opinion, around September, October, we're going to see a massive pullback. And remember, when your 401k collapses, it takes you about 4 years to get back to baseline. This is where the future is heading. BlackRock is giving you a blueprint on how to become a multimillionaire. But here's the thing. If you don't change the foundation and get financial education, you're going to be in the same situation. Okay. So we know that things are changing pretty dramatically. It's problem, reaction, solution. So our banking system is collapsing, but this was back in 2021. You can see the moves that BlackRock was making outside in China. Now remember, China and Japan hold about 33% of our debt is held outside the United States, and most is held by China and Japan. These are the moves that BlackRock is making outside of America.
Well, right. The administration certainly has toughened things up with China. That doesn't mean that all U.S. companies that directly or indirectly do business or invest in
Now, Key, this is in 2021.
China are going along, particularly when it comes to BlackRock. Charlie Gasparino has much more on that side of the story you're not hearing much about, but I think you should. Charlie, what's going on here?
Thanks, Neil. And by the way, this is a firm with deep ties within the Biden administration. We should point out that senior executives at BlackRock were on the Biden campaign, a guy named Tom Donlin, very close to the Biden people. Brian Deese, who's the head of ESG investing at BlackRock, now is the head of the NEC for the Biden administration. Walid Adaimo was also a senior advisor to Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock. He is now in the Treasury Department. So if there's one firm that's intrinsically linked to the Biden administration, it is BlackRock. And Larry Fink is a very political CEO. He's maybe one of the most woke CEOs in corporate America. He's one of the guys that is saying, if we're going to invest in a company, we want to make sure they file strict environmental, social governance rules known as ESG.
Now, let's pause for just a moment. Remember, Larry Fink is on the board of trustees for the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum is moving us into you'll own nothing and rent everything. ESG, environmental, social governance, is one of their biggest campaigns. Larry Fink is on the board of trustees for the World Economic Forum.
Or else we may not invest in them, or we may proxy the board to make significant changes in this regard. As it's doing all of this, we should point out that BlackRock is now facing some significant criticism, both from people you might say are right-wing activists, but a lot of other people are starting to notice that BlackRock has significant dealings in China, and a dealing that I think it may be, at least according to the critics, pushing the envelope. BlackRock, for example, as they're worrying about corporate America's ESG investing, is providing funding for 2 surveillance companies in China that critics say basically surveil and help the country enforce oppression of ethnic minorities and dissidents. And this is a $15 million investment in something called Hikvision. I might be mispronouncing that, but that's how it looks phonetically. HIK Vision, and over $9 million in something called iFlyTech. Plus, BlackRock has a $43 million China Opportunities Fund.
Okay, so this was in 2021. Okay, this is also in 2021. Okay, pay attention.
Where are they investing your money? China. BlackRock, the biggest American money manager. pouring in billions, propping up Chinese communist leaders, putting money into surveillance companies used by the Chinese military. Even left-wing billionaire George Soros knows BlackRock is harming U.S. national security. CEO Larry Fink loves to tell Americans how to live, but he negotiated against America, sucking up to China.
Okay, so that is 2021. Okay, now let's transition to August 2nd, 2023. The U.S. House Committee flags MSCI BlackRock for China investments. U.S. investments around 50 blacklisted Chinese companies have drawn the attention of U.S. Representatives Select Committee on Chinese Communist Party. The committee on Tuesday announced it sent separate letters to MSCI and BlackRock asking for more information about the firm's facilitation of U.S. investments into those Chinese companies. Okay, so let me get on my logical circuit. Okay, so here's what's happening, in my opinion. Okay, we are transitioning from America being the super global power, the dominant currency. Okay, the trick is over. The Kang's been kicked down the road long enough. I'm proud to be an American, but I'm also proud to be a human, and I'm not going to be played anymore. I'm not going to be played by this system. Okay. There's no president coming back that's going to save this system. The monetary system is transitioned. It's now transitioning from gas and oil to data, information technology, and attention to ESG, environmental, social governance. Okay. They're going to get us to fight against each other to point out our differences as these things happen right now. And this is what's happening. The evolving CBDC landscape and crypto regulatory landscape for China, Russia, and the U.S. The Federal Reserve released its long-awaited working papers on the benefits and risk of U.S. central bank digital currencies. It is clear that the Fed didn't want to take a position. This was in 2022. Didn't want to take a position, but it doesn't intend to proceed with this CBDC. Okay, this is in stark contrast to both Russia and China, which seem to have specific reasons for their views on coexistence of a CBDC and cryptocurrency. On one hand, China has banned cryptos. Now, this is in 2022. Now, look how much the narrative has changed, guys. 2022, they banned cryptos, and now they're giving licensing for crypto exchanges. Okay, how quickly the narrative changes, but the narratives change when they're ready for the implementation. From mining exchanges, central banks in Russia is proposing similar restrictions, arguing that the value of cryptocurrency is speculative, may create bubbles and issued finance and illegal activities. At the same time, two countries have embraced the notion of digital currencies controlled by government in an effort to digitize their economies. They see the appeal of deploying a power tool to monitor transactions in the country to provide valuable data for monetary policies and other purposes. Okay, then you fast forward just a little bit here. This was last week, August 9th, 2023, Russia to begin central bank digital currencies trial with 13 banks. I showed this to you guys a couple years ago, I think it was, and man, this has changed quite a bit. Okay, so if you look at this teal right here, this is in development. It used to be launched. It used to be tons in research, and now look how many are in development. If I click right here, United States, and it shows you the architecture, which is intermediate, central bank digital currencies in development, retail, wholesale, CBD. Canada is Project Jasper. If you go over here, you got Mexico is in development right now. This is no longer research. This is development. You look at Haiti, they're in development. If you go over here, you got Ripple with Colombia. We got intermediate Ripple. Okay. If you go over here, we got DLT, which is Brazil. These are all development countries. Okay. We got Europe under development. We got United Kingdom under development. We have Belarus. I can't even pronounce that under development. If you just keep going through here, guys, you tap through. These are in research. Okay. If we go over here, we have Katasan. That's Binance. Okay. It shows you all the different ones that they're working with here. We got retail, wholesale, CBDC. We got Palu. That's Ripple. Okay. We got all these. You can go through all these. Project Dunbar. We got Project Dunbar. Okay. These are all working to bring in a cryptocurrency. Okay. Or central bank digital currencies. We got retail. What do we got here? We got both. Research. I mean, this is so cool. You just go through and you can see all. I don't know if it's cool, but you can go through all this stuff. You can see who's working on what. It's a really fun website. There's JP Morgan, Onyx. That's why I wanted to show you the different companies out here. You got retail, boom, in development. These are all research, sorry. Boom. Project Dunbar. Research, research, research. They went from, we're not doing it to all in research now. Pretty powerful, huh? Guys, you're not going to stop a CBDC. I'm sorry. You're not. There's Ripple. I mean, it's just, you just go through all of these guys, tap there. There's a bunch with Ripple, just so you know. But then we go over here. We've showed this many, many times, and we've been showing this for years now. And it lines up, right? You got JP Morgan, you got Onyx, you got, which is JP Morgan, you got Circle, you got Algorand, you got Stellar. Stellar was in that list too. You can go and play around with that website. That website is called atlanticcouncil.org. You got Ripple, you got IOTA. So basically what's happening, guys, this is a transition in a monetary system, problem, reaction, solution. As you look this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. So instead of follow the money, that's what I'm saying. Follow the money flow, right? And you know, it's understanding that money is a tool, money is a frequency, money is magnetism. But if you're in constant fear and you're in constant resistance, you will attract that very same thing. You'll constantly be in fear. You'll constantly be in resistance. That's why rich parents have rich kids. That's why poor parents have poor kids. They don't want you to rewire the foundation, guys. They don't want you to rewire the foundation. They don't want you to understand this stuff. So very powerful, powerful things. This is 7702 tax code, index universal life, infinity banking concept, tax-free retirement. This is the frequency that rich people embody. One of them is transmuting sexual energy. They manipulate and mold you through sexual energy. These two books are very powerful, powerful books. This is why I became a licensed insurance agent. That's why I built an insurance team. That's why I've licensed agents in 50 states to help people with education around tax-free retirement, to show you a different way. So resistance comes from lack of understanding, but we're going into a central bank digital currency family. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with a monitored system. But what I'm doing is I'm working to get my family ready, because the middle class is getting wiped out, working to the working poor. And there's going to be no middle class. There's going to be working poor and the very, very wealthy. And we have an opportunity to be the people with those resources, right? Because it's just a tool. That's all it is. They say money is the root of all evil. It's the person using the money that makes it evil. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Hopefully that information reaches you well. Everything is in the description of this video down below. If you want to join our private warrior academy, over 7,000 warriors worldwide, the 5 pillars of wealth, the foundation being getting your shit together in a 120-day challenge. You can also set up a free consultation with my insurance team. So if it's in the description, if you're on YouTube or if you're in Twitter, it's in my bio here, or TikTok. Remember, we will never proactively DM you. Those are all scammers. We do not invest people's money. We do not have an investment platform. Never send anybody money pretending to be me. Love you guys. We appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go.